A conversation can start as a disagreement about dishes, money, or plans and suddenly feel impossible to continue. The body gets overwhelmed before the problem is solved. That is emotional flooding. Emotional flooding happens when the nervous system becomes overwhelmed during conflict. The person may still be in the room, but their ability to listen, process, and respond with care drops sharply. The body starts treating the conversation like a threat. A partner may hear criticism about money and suddenly feel cornered. Their heart races, their face gets hot, and every sentence sounds like an attack. At that point, the argument is no longer only about money, it is also about a body in alarm mode. Nervous system overload matters because it changes what looks reasonable in this specific setting. In how emotional flooding affects conflict, the person may feel they are reacting freely, while nervous system overload and fight-flight-freeze response have already narrowed the path. The mistake is treating flooding as simple unwillingness to listen. Sometimes a person is avoiding responsibility, but flooding itself is a body state. When the nervous system is overloaded, listening, memory, empathy, and problem-solving all become weaker. A money argument shows how quickly it can happen. One partner asks about spending, the other hears accusation, and the body reacts as if danger has arrived. The conversation may still sound logical from the outside, but inside, the person is fighting panic. A pause works only when it is structured. "I need 20 minutes and I will come back," is different from disappearing. The first protects the conversation. The second can feel like abandonment and may make the other partner more anxious. The timing of the question matters as much as the question itself. Asking before the decision is locked usually produces better answers. Volume is not the same as honesty. A flooded person may raise their voice because their body feels cornered, not because the louder version is more truthful. The relationship needs the real concern, not the alarm system's loudest output. Raising your voice because the body feels cornered is different from calmly choosing to be cruel, but it can still hurt the relationship. Flooding explains the loss of capacity, it does not erase the impact. That is why repair has to include both regulation and responsibility. Loss of listening ability often hides in the details of emotional flooding. In how emotional flooding affects conflict, it may sit inside loss of listening ability, so the warning sign is easy to miss until the consequence is already moving. The return after the pause is the repair point. The person who stepped away needs to come back when promised, acknowledge the impact, and restart with a smaller sentence. Without return, the pause becomes another injury. Need for timed pause deserves attention near the end of the chain. In how emotional flooding affects conflict, it can decide whether the outcome becomes manageable or turns into the more difficult version of the problem. A calm explanation should still leave room for the fact that someone may be scared, rushed, proud, or embarrassed. The clearer version includes both the action and the setup that shape the action. Emotional flooding does not mean the original issue is unimportant. The dishes, money, parenting decision, or broken promise may still need attention. Flooding only means the nervous system needs to settle before the issue can be handled well. A useful response turns the concept into a check. What changed, who is affected, and what option remains open? Flooding is also why the same couple can solve a problem calmly on Saturday and fail badly on Tuesday night. The issue may be identical, but sleep, stress, hunger, and accumulated resentment can change the body's capacity to stay open. To use the idea, watch the body. Racing heart, tunnel vision, heat, shaking, shutdown, or repeating the same sentence are signs that regulation may be needed before resolution. This concept is worth learning because it turns a confusing outcome into a chain of causes that can be examined. A useful agreement is made outside the fight. Partners can decide what a pause means, how long it lasts, and what sentence brings them back. That plan prevents the break from feeling like punishment. For emotional flooding, the strongest protection is preparation before pressure rises. Handling emotional flooding early can prevent the messier version later, especially when raising voice because the body feels cornered is already becoming possible. Signs of flooding can be physical: clenched jaw, tunnel vision, shaking, heat in the face, or the sudden inability to find words. When those signs appear, the conversation may need regulation before resolution. A useful return starts with one sentence of ownership. For example, "I got overwhelmed and I want to try again." That sentence helps the other person know the pause was not meant as rejection. In how emotional flooding affects conflict, this extra check matters because heart racing during a partner's criticism can look simple until nervous system overload and fight-flight-freeze response are both included. That is why this topic belongs in everyday judgment, not only in textbooks or policy discussions. The return after the pause is the part that protects trust. If someone takes space and never returns, the pause becomes abandonment. If they return calmly and continue, the pause becomes a repair tool. The repair conversation should be shorter and cleaner than the original fight. Start with what happened in the body, then name the actual issue, then choose one next step. Trying to solve 10 years of conflict while recovering from flooding usually restarts the alarm. Couples who understand flooding can stop treating every pause as avoidance and every strong emotion as truth. They can build a rhythm. Notice the body, pause responsibly, return on time, then repair the actual issue. Flooding changes the body first. Heart rate rises, muscles tighten, breathing changes, and the brain starts scanning for threat. At that point, the person may still be physically present, but their ability to listen and respond with care has dropped sharply. This is why serious conversations often get worse after a certain point. The couple may keep talking, but the nervous system is no longer processing the words well. More explanation can feel like more attack, even when the words are reasonable. A real pause is different from avoidance. The flooded person can say, "I need 20 minutes, and I will come back." That sentence protects both people. One gets time to calm down, and the other gets a signal that the conversation is not being abandoned. Flooding is easier to understand when you watch the change in capacity. A person who could listen 5 minutes ago may suddenly misread every sentence as criticism. The issue is not only attitude, the body has moved into protection. Emotional flooding also changes memory of the conflict. After the argument, one person may remember only the harsh tone, while the other remembers feeling trapped and unheard. Repair becomes easier when both understand that the body's alarm system shaped the conversation, not just the words themselves. Repair works better after the body settles. The couple can return to the actual issue instead of reacting to the panic created by the argument. Emotional flooding does not excuse hurtful behavior, but it explains why timing can decide whether repair is possible. Couples can plan for flooding before the next fight. They can agree on a pause word, a time limit, and a return promise so the break does not become another source of fear.